Chapter 20. After lunch on Friday, Theo and Hardy took advantage of a 1 hour study hall and met in the library. The school's internet server was faster than their laptops, so they could save time by using the desktop models that were available to all students upon request. When they were properly logged in and when the IT clerks disappeared, they quickly began searching the information. The soccer data was easier to retrieve than anything from Stratton County school system. The night before, after they had left the SEC office as full blown activists, Hardy spent an hour on Facebook. He played for a team called Red United, affectionately known as RU, and RU had its own Facebook page. He searched other pages and other teams in the under 14 division and quickly put together a directory of about 100 players, girls and boys. Tucked away in the library, Hardy roared through Facebook and added dozens of names to his list. Theo hammered away at the school system. According to the official website, Jackson Elementary currently had 415 students in pre-kindergarten through 5th grade. But there was no listing of these students and certainly no information about them. There was a nice teacher's directory with color photos and email addresses and such. Theo decided this could be a valuable piece to start. The parent teacher organization, PTO, had a separate website with a few names and contact information, but little more. For almost an hour, the two were lost in their rambling searches for the names of people, students, teachers, parents, administrators, anyone who might be contacted with whatever Theo and Hardy decided to use in their little campaign. After school, Theo was bored and killing time around office. He planned to meet April Finnemore at Guff's Frozen Yogurt on Main Street at 4 o'clock, something they had tried to do once a week. Her older siblings had fled an unhappy home. April was often alone. Theo didn't feel sorry for her because he didn't want. Plus, he was bright and funny and a gifted artist. He didn't consider her to be a girlfriend, not in a romantic sense, but just a good friend who happened to be a girl. Most of his pals did not understand how it was possible to have a friend who was a girl, but not actually a girlfriend. Theo had grown weary of trying to explain this. It was complicated. Vince, the paralegal who worked for Miss Spoon, popped into Theo's office and said, "Say, Theo, could you run these by the clerk's office and file them before 5 p.m.?" As he asked this question, he tossed down a folder filled with documents. It was probably papers in one of the many divorce cases Miss Spoon had at the moment. Theo jumped to his feet and said, "Sure, I'll go right now." "Thanks," Vince said and disappeared. There were a few things Theo enjoyed more than a trip to the Stratton County Courthouse, and any excuse was good enough to make him hustle over there. He reached down, patted Judge on the head, explained he would be back shortly, then grabbed the folder and took off. The courthouse was the largest building in town, and by far the most important. It had big, thick columns around the front entrance and long, wide steps around them. Theo parked his bike at the rack and bounded up the steps. The main lobby was normally busy with lawyers, policemen, clerks, but Theo knew from experience the place would be deserted late on a Friday afternoon. He had heard his mother complain that it was impossible to find a judge after lunch on Friday, and he had heard Ike tell stories of lawyers sneaking away to their favorite bars to recap another long, hard week. The lobby was deserted. Theo ran up 2 flights of stairs to the third floor where family court was located. Inside, he found his favorite clerk of all, the young and gorgeous Jenny, the secret love of his life and a woman he would marry if she wasn't already married and pregnant. "Well, hello, Theo," she said with a smile. Her soft blue eyes always twinkled when she smiled at Theo, and this always made him blush. He could feel his cheeks burning. "Hi, Jenny," he said. "Need a file of these." He handed over the folder, and she opened it. "Great picture of you and Judge in the paper," she said as she went about her job of sorting out papers. Theo just stood on his side of the tall counter and stared at her. "Thanks," he said. "How's Judge?" "He's doing great. Still banged up, but he'll survive. I hear those guys got out of jail this morning." "That's right," Theo said. Their lawyer finally got an appeal posted and got him out. But they're not finished. They'll spend some time eventually. I sure hope so, she said, stamping the papers as he shuffled them about. I'll file these right away, Theo. Thanks, Jenny. See you later. He should have turned around and started his exit, as always, but Theo couldn't help but stare at just a bit too long. Bye, Theo, she said with yet another smile. Take care of Judge. I will. As Theo left the clerk's office, he realized his heart rate had increased. This usually happened when he was around Jenny. On the way out, he peeked into Judge Henry Gantry's courtroom, the largest and grandest of all, and he was not surprised to see it dark and empty. He made his way down the stairs, looking at the massive oil paintings of dead judges. As he ambled through the main lobby, someone called out, Hey, Theo. He turned around and saw a face that was vaguely familiar, that of a guy in his 40s with shaggy hair and a beard and battered sneakers. Norris Flay with the Gazette, he said as he approached Theo. Flay was apparently one of those men who felt uneasy shaking hands with a 13-year-old kid, so he made no effort. He looked down, Theo looked up and said, How you doing? Fine. You? Great. Got a minute? Not really. It was 10 minutes before 4 p.m., and April would soon arrive at Guff's Frozen Yogurt, which is only a few blocks away. The son of two lawyers, Theo had been raised with an atmosphere of distrust when it came to reporters. Their job was to dig and reveal facts and details that people would prefer to keep quiet. As lawyers, Theo's parents lived by a code of protecting at all costs the privacy of their clients. Theo was often amazed when he saw lawyers on television hot dogging it for the cameras. They blathered on and on about their clients and the details of their cases. Not so around not so around good old Boone and Boone. His father was fond of saying, Lawyers and cameras are a vile mixture. Maybe, Theo said cautiously. Did you like a photo in the paper yesterday morning? Flay asked proudly. It was okay, Theo said, glancing around. What's up? Flay glanced around too, as the casual bystander might have thought a drug deal was taking place. You leaving? Yep, Theo replied. Good. I'll walk out with you. They left the lobby, walked through the front doors, and stopped in the shadows of one of the columns. How's the dog? Flay asked. Fine. Theo had no idea why Flay wanted to talk to him. The longer they were together, the more nervous he became. What if someone saw them whispering in the shadows in the front steps of the county courthouse? Flay lit a cigarette and blew a cloud of smoke above Theo's head. It was a shifty-eyed and a little jumpy, and Theo wanted to bolt. Look, Theo, there are a lot of rumors about this bypass and issues related to it. I have a source telling me of a local businessmen are pushing hard because they plan to make a buck. Know what I mean? Theo was staring at his shoes. Play went on, especially the developers. Looks like there are a bunch of vultures just waiting for a bypass to get approved. Then they'll swoop down and line both sides of it with shopping centers and fast food joints. Before you know it, they'll have a bypass jammed up as bad as Battle Street. Know what I mean? Nothing from Theo. Clay waited, blew some more smoke, then said, The biggest crook might be a guy named Joe Ford. You know Joe Ford? Never heard of him, Theo said, looking at Flay. It was a fib, but Theo didn't care. He had met Joe Ford within the safe and secure offices of Boone and Boone. It was none of Flay's business. Flay glared at him as if he knew the truth. I doubt that, he said. Your father has been Ford's lawyer for many years. So? So now I hear Ford has fired the law firm of Boone and Boone. Why, well, I really don't know, but I bet it's related to the bypass. What do you want from me? Theo asked angrily. Information. Forget it, I know nothing. Perhaps you can learn something, do a little digging, find something that might prove valuable, help stop the bypass. Digging is your job, not mine. We're on the same side, Theo. Flay reached into his shirt pocket and whipped out a white business card. He thrust it at Theo and said, Here's my phone number. You hear something, you give me a call. I swear it's all confidential. I've never revealed a source. Theo took the card and walked away without saying a word. Though he was certain he had done nothing wrong, it didn't feel that way. He got on his bike and took off Main Street, wondering if he should tell his parents. Joe Ford had fired a Boone firm the day before. How did Flay know so soon? At Guff's, April was waiting on her favorite booth. She ordered her usual frozen yogurt and Theo his usual chocolate gelato covered in crushed Oreos. She was subdued, and Theo soon knew why. Her parents were in a constant state of war, and if they weren't in the middle of a divorce, then they were threatening to get another one started. Theo's problem vanished as he listened to his friend discuss the latest fights around her house. He could offer no advice, but could certainly listen. April dreamed of running away, like her older siblings had done, but it wasn't possible. At the age of 13, she had no place to go. Trapped at home, she created fictional worlds through which she could get away. Her favorite dream was being a student in Paris, studying art and painting at the edge of the Seine, very far from home. Theo worked his gelato and listened dutifully. Though he had heard of his dream quite often, he secretly hopes he would not tear up because and start crying. He did not. That's the end of chapter 20.